gonna call the meeting to order at 10:01. The agenda's pretty pretty basic, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I did want to take just a couple of minutes to sort of talk what we want to get out of this subcommittee, because we're kind of boiling the ocean with it. Like there's a lot that we potentially could do. So I didn't know if you wanted to focus the first couple on specific things. You will, because you're the.
I mean, I just have. I think it's just a matter of getting some data and kind of getting a pathway to obtaining the first business.
To bring in.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
So I'm gonna interrupt, sorry.
Sure.
So, when you say to bring in the first business, because there are businesses coming in, but do you mean more like a major cornerstone industry?
I think that would kind of open the floodgates to, you know, oh, XYZ company just arrived in Wakefield, they found it a great space, and you know, that testimonial will go a long way towards doing else in the future.
Right, I'm gonna not Yeah, I totally agree. Your thoughts on that? Yeah?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you can build off of that. Sometimes you bring one in, a corner piece, a big piece, just like an anchor store in the mall.
Yep.
Back when they used to have malls, right? You know, and then you just watch everyone else slap and jump it on, you know.
Yes. Yeah, great. I agree. The other thing I think might be important for us, like I haven't in depth looked at, so for open meeting law, we need to leave the door open. And Jared a little bit.
That sound brings back memories.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, all of us, right?
I'll start
to get a little push-up. That's all the time.
Good for a credit.
So there has been work done within the town, vision, focusing the vision. It's Vision 2030 or something. And then there was a downtown revitalization plan. So I think there's like 2 or 3 plans up there that I think if we got familiar, I just breezed through them.
Sure.
But if we all got familiar, then we could kind of see sort of the foundation pieces in the middle of that. So I think for this group it would be helpful to kind of pull those together.
Yeah. What was the second thing you were referring to? Vision.
Downtown revitalization, and then I think it's Vision 2030. And I think there's another one, I just forget the name of it. You can chase it down. So that we could maybe take some, to your point, take some data points that are right there and move off of that. Okay.
In the meetings, what I often think about is that the process for identifying empty commercial real estate is just not clear. Like, are we searching and we keep talking about, like, is it easy to get a list, how do we pick the owners? I want that to be more defined, like, you know, you reach out to those 3, what are they open to, we bring it back, and then, you know, so it's, because it's chicken and the egg, like, do we want the store, do we want the place, do we have a place for the store, you know, and I feel like we keep doing that.
And do we want to focus on Main Street to begin with? In other words, where you start at on Main Street, we go all the way to Melrose, wherever that ends, and see whatever's open and available for commercial space on Main Street, or do we want to branch out to like Albion or some of the other side streets that make it be all encompassing? Too much actually.
Right.
Unless we wanted to focus on one sector, so to speak.
How about we focus on both, like Main Street and Albion is like the small retail that makes Wakefield cute, but then we also look closer to like Audubon and the other areas for just a bigger, empty, like a 20,000 square foot. And that way we're like, we're gonna make it pretty downtown, but we're also gonna bring an employer.
Right, which is what we need.
Just
So we bring an employer and then all of a sudden downtown is better.
Yeah, and those are 2 separate kind of industries anyway, Main Street as opposed to Q there, where the high rise, so to speak, things are. So those 2 sectors.
And we're thinking the subcommittee wants to do that. Like, I think that's actually a really good idea for the subcommittee to do that.
Well, we're both brokers, so I mean, it's.
Like, if you could even put together almost like the template, because I think that's also a little bit of the challenge, is having almost like a template. I drive by all the time, so if you had a template, like, you know what information to put on there, like square footage, right? The phone number, contact info, and then I don't know if you grab info off of some database somewhere about what the leasing price is or what the sale price is,
Yes, real
right?
quick. Permission to speak.
No, do
I've been doing a lot of Robert's Rules lately. I've been listening to in the car wherever I go. So I'm like at dinner with my family. I'm like, hey, you know, but I've had notes prior to sending out the agenda over the past, ever since I received that, I've integrated my notes into the 2 through 4, 2, 3, and 4. And before I continue, I should have probably been more clear about this prior. My experience for commercial was a course that I took at BU that never really came to fruition because it was like basically a shortened, extremely intense, et cetera, et cetera. So otherwise, residential rentals and sales is more my prowess, and basically just, you know, that hustle factor in sales. That's kind of like where what I kind of bring to the table. The key, obviously, I feel is more of a, like, our commercial leasing go-to guy.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, and I would just say, like, the commercial knowledge is simple, and like the soft skills, talking to people is way more valuable than crunching numbers, sure.
I just don't want to, like, one of the meetings, someone looked at me like, so what do you think about that? I was like, should I speak this up right now, or should I email people, whatever? But so just moving forward, I'm learning more and I'm absorbing more information, but I'm no means an expert in it yet. So I think some of the subcommittee goals should, whether it be number 1 or 1A, is get an active business list downtown, all companies, to see what we have covered. Say someone brought up an example of like a sports card shop. We already have one now in the street. Okay. Yep. We're looking to fit the puzzle pieces that are kind of missing, because whoever's going to be coming on board, coming into Wakefield, is going to look exactly what the competition is. And if it's really light, it's going to make it more palatable. Something that I would like to have, like, more of a take-home homework thing, is what would be the, or something we even talk about right now, but what are the top, say, 3 businesses you want to see in Wakefield? What do you feel is going to basically add to the enjoyment of walking down Main Street or Main Street? It's really consumers. So what we feel would be a good fit, that I feel would be a good place to start from. And then 1B would be an active list of all vacant storefronts. As you said, square footage, turnkey level, whether you can walk in and be in 1 and it's completely disgusting, or 5, just bring a toothbrush. Because that information should be sub notes that are passed on to the potential lessee. We need data. That's something that we've been kind of talking about at the beginning. You know, Aaron's like, I have various resources. I have a list of, if that can be shared, that'd be super duper helpful. And the rest of us can fill in the missing pieces. Because having Chris is a huge asset as well.
Totally right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, basically one of the kings of Wakefield real estate.
Yes.
Right.
Been here, born and raised. Like, he is someone that can probably fill a lot of gaps and not run around like crazy people.
Right.
They're like, oh, I know Bob, I know Lisa, blah, 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 blah.
Right. And one thing, if I may,
Of course.
one thing that I think if we actually view this as, in a way, we're starting from scratch with some of these ideas, and if we kind of build it, then I think the light bulb will go on for some folks, like maybe the new planner, the light bulb will go on. Where if folks are working right now in town, where they're working so hard on X, Y, and Z, sometimes saying the obvious is like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of that, because they're focused on like the housing right now, so they're not necessarily as focused on some of the things we're talking about. So if we could put together a template with a lot of these ideas, and then say, here's our template, Aaron and I forget the planner's name, if you folks could help fill this in, that would be a great jump point, and then we can move forward from that.
Yeah.
And I know we're talking about leasing, but if there was a prospective customer, purchaser, whatever you wanna call them, if they had questions about financing, I'm more than happy to offer my skills and tools and make the cooperative banks, not to try to mooch in on anything like that, but just to have opportunities for everyone that might have questions about obtaining a real estate, commercial real estate, financing.
A crucial part of the steps.
Right.
Yeah. Because basically, the first one's gonna be tricky. We're gonna be kind of beta testing them, and then we learn how to make it better for the next people, the next one, the next one, the next one. Another really important part of being able to kind of gain interest is the fact that Erin has the social media aspect covered, and her other colleagues that can set up something on, Wakefield Marketplace or any of all the little, soccer mom sites and this and that, and it's gonna be all word of mouth anyways. So if we're blasting Instagram and Facebook, Wakefield's growing so fast. This is how easy it is. It passes on to all the different people that are on the cusp of starting a business or bringing a business to a town, but they're just overwhelmed by all the steps. We can streamline that for you to make it less stressful. This space, we'll call it a 2.5 out of 5. It has a lot of potential, it's a little rougher on the edges, but the facade aspect that we also can offer can make it easier for the people to make their basically quote unquote dream come true. All these things just falling into place. Getting the list of vacant storefronts is super important. Because all we're doing is basically, putting all the puzzle pieces together, just to at least have it go from 35%, whatever it is, vacancy rate, to get to 30, and then 25, and then, it's not gonna be obviously overnight, but, when the committee, on our second or third anniversary, we're looking back, we brought, a half dozen new businesses in here.
We're a collaborative group, so we're gonna help the town bring them. So it's important so one thing that's important for us is to acknowledge that there's foundational pieces in place, right? Because that's important to get folks comfortable with the idea. What you're bringing is phenomenal, because what you're bringing is a business perspective to a municipal process. And I was the chair of the Community Preservation Committee in Malden, and we did the same thing. So municipals tend to think one way, and when you start doing some of the business stuff, and with an acknowledgement of you folks have put the foundational pieces in place, we're just jumping off all the hard work you put in place.
Right.
There tends to be they're more open to Instagram, TikTok.
Right.
Have you looked at I would love this council to follow the lead of the sustainability. They are on, their social media is phenomenal. The sustainability committee is always posting, they're always putting stuff out there. It's great. So maybe if we take a look at that and see if we can follow their lead of how they're doing it.
I envision, if we could somehow get a production company to put together a 30-second piece where you have a couple, they're sitting around the dining room table, bills are piling up, their vision is there, even like a whiteboard in the background where they have a product that's amazing, but they're just running their fingers through their hair. It's like, how do we do this? And then some kind of transition to see how it can be made easier. And then our information starts coming up in like a nice, how do I put this? It's just gotta be a button-up look, that's all.
Right.
I've seen some of the videos, I've seen some of the stuff that Wakefield has. It's good, it's just, I think it needs a little bit more of a fresh twist. In regards to business attraction brainstorm.
Can we tie this up and then
Sure.
We're tying up the
first bullet, which is the second bullet, which is
Subcommittee goals.
what do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish as a subcommittee?
Well, what comes to mind is just giving it a numerical value, like how many storefronts in a year, or in our term, like some of us are 1, 2, and 3 year, I think. Just in the first year, how many stores, how many big ones, small ones? Because if we're doing 3, that we don't need a list, I mean, we can get a list of all the vacant commercial, but we don't need to focus on all of it in that degree. We can just say, okay, we have 30% vacancy rate in Wakefield, commercial, why don't we try to fill up 3 stores in the next 6 months? You know, and that way when we're talking, it's a lot more confined.
Right, it's easier to arrive, to reach a goal, when you narrow your narrow your search.
Right, and for the tenant, the most important thing for them, I mean, we love the town, but for them, it's the space, right? Like they're not gonna come because of Wakefield necessarily, they're gonna come because it's a perfect store for them.
Right.
So starting with like, this is the space we have for you. Oh, by the way, Wakefield's an awesome town, like that's sort of how the pitch will go, I think.
That's all. Yeah. It'd be fun to have like, just like, you know, when you're doing tours in Boston, if you got listings, and not honestly, we're not gonna have a database like that, but just be like, yeah, we can go check out 3 or 4 spaces that are similar. You know, I'm happy to obviously do that. We're, you know, obviously built for that. I'm looking forward to some kind of database. Just listings.
Marco, do you have anything to add? You don't. Do you have anything to add to the goals?
No, I think they're good. You know, I'd really like to arrive at that top 3 businesses. I think that's important to focus on that. I mean, obviously, an active business list and an active list of empty storefronts is extremely important. But we should arrive at, you said, well, the 3 businesses we really want to focus on, kind of narrow the search.
I'm just gonna run through what I have as notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. We wanna pull together data points, path way forward, keep reading my writing. No idea what that word is. Attain major cornerstone industry and anchor store, review all the vision docs, ID, empty commercial property on Main, Albion, and Audubon, active list of businesses. I just added, we should talk to the planner. Looking at what's turnkey level, asking Erin to share the list that she already has. And then some of the elements on our template would be the turnkey level, financing, lease versus buy, looking at improving our PR social media, and streamlining the steps to actually open a business. Going back to the PR, this is how it works, sorry. So the PR social media, do imaging to sell the process. Come up with a numeric value of vacant versus what we're gonna bring in. So the example is 30 vacant, our goal is to bring in a top 3 business. Is that all of it?
Yep.
It's good.
Awesome.
It's very good.
And just to kind of pepper in there, the pop-up aspect is huge. So even if like Del Store empanadas that are in Reading, they come to the Wakefield Farmers Market, and that Wakefield's Farmers Market is basically created the brick and mortar. That's how popular they were. This is like case study of the progression.
Is that someone's phone or is that someone's?
I think it's something we're gonna, I put my phone's on ringing before the announcements. If people have cold feet, they're not too sure, then the pop-up aspect.
To allow them to come in and experience.
Just
Can I slash that to market? I totally agree. I just think if we only have 1 or 2 businesses doing pop-ups, it doesn't necessarily drive. I think if we can get 3 or 4, the reason why the farmers market is so amazing is it's huge.
right.
So if we can get more of a market type thing where we get like maybe 5, then I think what you're saying, out of the 5, maybe 1 is a brick and mortar.
Right.
But if you get 1 or 2, the chances that 1 was gonna be brick and mortar are slimmer.
And from a marketing standpoint, having success to go from a farmer's market table to a pop-up to eventually a brick and mortar, you know, that's huge. And from the marketing perspective, you can really kind of go with that, and you'd be surprised how many more farmers market requests are out there. Or I want to join that farmers market. I love those guys. Kind of like the red shop, you know. So.
Right.
I think we should flyer the farmers market with a little info to see if those next sort people are floating around there kind of on the cusp. Like it'd be very easy, or it would be a good fit for like local craft jewelers to take a small space, you know, even if it is a pop-up shop for a year and it's just, 400 square feet, right? Just to kind of throw that carrot out there as well.
Springboard.
Yes,
Or something.
we're definitely offering springboards, I like that. Yeah. The business attraction brainstorm, it's kind of my favorite
So
part.
we're gonna close out this item.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so we're gonna move to item 3.
Three. Yeah, business attraction brainstorm.
Will you have the floor?
Thank you so much, I appreciate that. We need more variety, you know. There's kind of Wakefield has had their kind of.
Sorry, can you describe what you mean by more variety?
Well, they kind of have the fallback businesses. There's lots of pizza shops. There's, obviously the big commercial spaces that have been there forever that aren't, even remotely hip and fresh. Yes. Every time I drive by that building, I'm like,
I scratch my head wondering how they're still around.
I get it, right? We're just
That
not sure
whole
about.
space there, that little jewelry store that you have to call them important food to open and the really dated clothing.
Yeah.
There's a rack in front of the store,
Right.
I think it's 1972 and all that.
It's,
72.
if it wasn't so,
You know what I mean? It's so
big, like if it wasn't just so like in our face, then I wouldn't think about it as much, but there's a prime example.
So dry.
And Aaron obviously knows, probably knows the owner, what the current situation is.
I was gonna ask you, do you know the owner?
I do not.
Do you know?
I do not. I wish I did.
Yeah. Because it's a huge building, so it's not just the jewelry, it's the
Right.
whole,
Yeah, there's the clothing store
a lot of little businesses.
and his little businesses as well. That would be a good focus, actually, to that. I mean, it's in the heart.
Is it historical, do you know?
It is probably not. I remember when I was a kid, there used to be a Klein's department store, and that was really popular because they sold family clothes. In other words, they sold
Right.
men's, women, and
Right.
children. This Alano, I guess, all they sell is women's clothes, and frankly, they focus on kind of like older, so to speak. So yeah, as far as being fresh and all that, it's anything but.
Right. So to dig into that a little bit, because we are still a municipality, we are still like government, where government can't.
Mhm.
And not government going and tell people how to do business, right?
Right.
What sort of ideas you have that we could do to kind of help a business to freshen and become hip? Like you don't wanna walk in and say, you're not hip, we're gonna show you how to be hip.
Right, you guys aren't cool enough for us, so we have to give you your haircut. I've never stepped foot inside that store. I think it's like how to become relevant, right?
Facade,
100%.
clean up those windows, you get on the farmland and they got those really cool.
Yeah.
Case cool
Windows, there should be a lot more of
the
those.
artwork and all that.
Right.
And it needs to be freshened up,
So brick and mortar retail versus online retail. So it would be interesting, like, do they have an online presence? Is that something that, because if you have an online presence where you're making revenue, you then have funds to maybe.
I believe and I'm sure you can find that out well, but I don't believe they even have a website. I think we need to Google Alano, there's no website spot there.
So we
I
could
could be wrong.
make sure we offer them the digital marketing stuff.
Right.
Marketing program to refresh.
Mhm.
Okay. It's a beautiful, I actually think it's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
It does, because I'm always looking for a mural space now. If you walk down what street, that is the perfect mural.
I was actually gonna ask.
Princess?
Princess.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask about the mural number 5, the mural situation. So, in regard to just come back, for your question for variety, and I'll just kind of give a couple examples how there's a lot of certain things and lack of other things. I think there's a wine and cheese shop that was suggested at one point. You know, obviously, Bay of the World's amazing, but there's no place downtown to get like a solid breakfast sandwich or something like that. I mean, I have probably 13 different ideas, 12 or 13 different companies that I think would be a good addition. They have a play space or craft space in Albion, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. The bunker? Is that?
No, not the hobby bunker.
Kid Casa?
Yeah, Kid Casa.
Yeah.
Kid Casa is more arts and crafts, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
It's children's.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
So along that vein, like Kids Fun in Reading, which I brought my kids to recently, and was pleasantly surprised. First of all, it's brand new, but the people that run it are super, super nice. It's an easy place to go and bring your kids for a short or longer period of time, birthday parties, et cetera, et cetera. It's not really anything like that here.
It's like an entertainment space.
Right.
Yeah.
Same space for kids.
Beautiful.
Right. That's why kind of going back to what 3 businesses would you like to see in Wakefield? Aside from the actual businesses that we're trying to bring in here, there was talk when we first started in regards to the pickleball court that's potentially going to be opening. Now, obviously in the Civic Center, it's a super hot spot to go to play pickleball. People drive half an hour, 45 minutes to come here to play pickleball there, which blows my mind. But now it makes me want to play pickleball.
Right.
Because, you know, it's fun, a lot easier than on your knees and stuff than tennis. But having stuff like that also as fun destinational activities in Wakefield is another vein that, you know, if they're coming to play pickleball or volleyball or whatever example you can think of, batting cages, fun centers like that, like Apex Fun Center, would be something really cool to have around here. We have the space for it too.
So what I always think about, so I follow Robert's rules but loosely. It's important that we follow open meeting laws or Robert's rules. Because it was put together in like 1847.
Right.
So what I always think about is, because my daughter's at Galvin, I always think about Galvin Middle School. If that were a company, we would be bending over backwards to grab those consumers, and we don't. So when you say things like an Apex,
Entertainment center, it's awesome.
where you have almost 1,000 5th to 8th graders down there, you have the lacrosse team down there, you have the soccer teams down there, and we don't really look at the Galvin as a business. What if we did and said, you know what, we actually already have it like that? If I were looking to open something like you're talking about, that would be how I would sell it.
That whole road there is empty, except for the new crafty cute place that I'm gonna be stopping by later. That's I'm assuming that's similar to 10 Buck in Reading. That's another prime example, if it's not close enough to that, if it's kind of similar, et cetera, et cetera. Super cute business.
Yep.
I've been going there since we moved here, actually ever since they opened. Whether it's to save my ass for an anniversary present, my butt for an anniversary present. She's helped out the kids' crafts, everything. Pam's awesome. That's what we need. And that's another example that I have here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rockport at all. It's one of my favorite places to visit. And there's a clothing company there called One Ocean. And it was started by 2 sisters that are from Rockport that started silk screening in their garage and selling it in high school and college, and they got more traction. And now they're donating a certain percentage of proceeds to the ecological aspect, the cleaning up of beaches, like all this cool stuff. It's awesome. But it's a one-off, and it's very specific, and it's one of the reasons why I like going up there amongst dozens of others. But I'm excited to go. That excitement is what we kind of need, that little spark. So when we come to find something that's in Wakefield, there it is, and
So
it just gives us a little more.
Businesses that show that Wakefield is unique.
Right. Paramount, super important. And I completely skipped something here. So I see it also, there's no reason why we can't, flattery is the best compliment, right? If you see something that's working super well, like Buckaloo's in Melrose, that I think would do super duper good here. I've already talked to Robin about it. She's like, only 2 years since we moved into this space. Yeah, and she's like, I actually kind of like that idea, Will. Let's talk about it in a couple of weeks. I'm like, all right. She has super tasty chocolates, all kinds of crazy snacks, like a whole section devoted to Melrose. So the zip code, this, that, all that stuff. And she just runs through all the products. It sells so fast.
So it's interesting
Cool
because we do have companies that do that here. So Fringe does that.
Okay.
The Tea Stop has, like, they're doing it, right?
I'm familiar.
Yeah, but so for businesses that are already here, how do we help them
Get to the next level.
get to the next level, right? I don't know that the tea shop needs to get to the next, because they're just crushing it, right?
Yeah.
But do they need a bigger space?
Right.
They're good.
But great, so you're going into existing businesses and saying, hey, I consider
This blueprint's working awesome over here. We could easily either attract them a couple times over to Wakefield if they're doing that well. Obviously, expanding is a huge risk.
Right.
But that's kind of like, whether it's a business that's been working in XYZ location, or if there are people that, like I said, going back to the farmer's market, people that are on the cusp that have that idea, that want to get these products that are produced in Wakefield in a general store setting. Because not only are you getting all these like little tchotchkes and all this little cool stuff, but there's a huge section of beer in the back. And it's not just Budweiser and Heineken and all the, boring stuff, I guess you could say, but they hand pick exactly the best stuff that you can get. So it's that kind of one-stop shopping. It's a really cute place. It's just an example.
So can I bring this up to sort of, so we want to put together a framework. So as the subcommittee for attainment, we want to put together a framework of what's here, what's working, and how we think businesses that are existing could potentially get to the next level. And some, I call them micro businesses, some micro businesses, and are they at a position where they could maybe move into a brick and mortar? So if we put together the framework for them, right? What you're doing is amazing. You're walking in and going, hey bro, have you thought about Wakefield? And now you ask them the question, like, why did you choose Melrose? Do they ever talk to you about the tax rate? Yeah. So how do we?
The tax rate here in Wakefield.
Versus the tax rate of Melrose. Yeah. So how do we put together the framework and maybe present it within the municipality, saying, if we really want to bring business here, we need to look at the surrounding municipalities and what their commercial tax rate is and what ours is, and what can we do to become competitive, right? Because I think, and I get it wrong, I think Melrose is 17 for 21, is that right?
Sounds right, yeah.
The commercial tax rate.
Tax rate.
So that's not a small.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's not close.
That's not close.
No.
So do we have programs that we can implement as a municipality where we can be more competitive on the tax rate within it? Now it's apples to apples, right? But not getting so much into, because I think as the council, we need to maybe, again, put together a framework. Like, how do we get all these small businesses you're talking about? How do we see if they're able to come to the next level? How do we attract businesses that maybe want to expand so they're in the communities close to us? Is there an opportunity if they're paying 17%? I don't know, you clients, if they're paying $17, that if they expand into Wakefield, we'll match it. I don't know if that's possible.
Right, or maybe you could do a steep grade where okay, if you get 17 in Melrose, we'll do 17 in Wakefield for the first year, and then we'll do 18 next year.
Right.
How well you do.
Right.
Kind of motivates them to do well.
Right.
It kind of gives them the, a break, so to speak, in the tax rate. It shows that we're working with them, we're trying to work with them to help them develop.
Right.
Talk is cheap.
It comes down to a business decision, right?
Right.
Exactly.
I personally like, and I don't know if it's realistic, but I like the incentive of owner-occupied businesses with commercial on the first floor.
Yep.
Is your business and you live upstairs.
Yep.
It's cute, like it creates a lot of ownership mentality.
Yep.
And I think the loans for that tend to be really good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we have mixed use. commercial property, yeah. And you're right, it's always been a good mix, a good blend for any downtown communities to have a storefront with some either office space, commercial condominiums, or even living space. So.
Daytona.
That's obviously like a bigger scale, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. I mean, I guess for lack of a better example, that variety store on the way down on Salem Street, that's right in the corner there. They live upstairs from that. It's been there for apparently a really long time.
Right.
Like the antique store that closed.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Or even mixed use as far as what you're doing, that Slice in Wakefield is the gas station that's got the really high-end pizza.
Yeah, it's really actually pretty good
Cool,
pizza. It's
yeah.
one of my go-to stops.
It's
A1 Prime on Salem Street.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
your typical gas station.
Heard it's really good pizza.
Yeah, actually,
It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they make this chicken sandwich that's got broccoli ramen and Italian.
Yeah, they know they have something good going on there.
Yeah.
It's always
What a cool idea, they've even been on the Fiat Monet and
Oh, nice.
all that, yeah.
Right, so how do we sell these,
Right.
like, we need to get, like, Chronicle or whatever?
Yeah.
Chronicle, I like that.
Right.
Chronicle recently did a spot on Gingerbread Construction Company.
Oh. Yeah, nice, great. Yeah, there's spaces for lease right next to that. So I drive around, I notice it.
Mhm.
But if I had a template where I could just send out, we write this down.
Even like a Google spreadsheet.
Exactly.
That's what I think, this is one of those out here.
It's a good idea.
I'm gonna do time check, because we've already stopped, it's 10:38 I have.
Yep.
Yeah. There's other things I bring up. It came up and went in my head. Keep going, I'll come back to me.
I like the idea, not to interrupt, we've talked about it since this council was formed. I love the idea of a beer hall or, it's
Tap room.
like we can't talk enough about, it's not just your old school Sullivan's Tap at
Right.
the station.
The longest bar.
Stick with bad beer and all that. Now you get kids in there, you got moms, dads bringing toys and games and stuff for their kids to play with, while the adults have a really high-end quality beer and good pizza. I keep bringing up the space there, the Treehouse in Tewksbury. They only sell pizza. That's it. It's good pizza, and that's all they sell, and it's great. It works, and the beer selection's outstanding, and the camaraderie and everything else. It's just fun. It works.
And I feel like the big golf is good too.
Huh?
You feel like the big golf is good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have 2 tap rooms in Wakefield that I know of. So Main Street is now Main Street Tap Room.
We used to be the Sporamos.
Yeah, used to be
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Tap room.
Yeah,
Right, it was-
so go in there, check it out. And then the new business that's going in where Fangs used to be,
To where?
Fangs,
Yes.
is gonna be a tap room. So to your idea of if they come, like you build it, they will come. So how do we leverage that that's going on to maybe bring in another one?
Wait, Taco Room was just like a beer hall basically?
Yeah,
It's a smaller scale than what you would see at like a Treehouse or Port Hobo or Night Shift or anything. It's really
yes, small bites, usually their flagship stuff. Sometimes breweries who collaborate with other breweries, they'll bring their stuff in there as well. They'll usually, if they're lucky enough, they'll have some kind of outdoor space where they, basically it's a beer garden attached to it in the back of it.
kind of like
That's way easier to do than attract some of these breweries to come here. I've been trying for the past 6 months. I made a lot of new friends.
That's good.
But there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of competition for these breweries. And until we really finely tune our pitch, we're gonna be in second or third place every single
I'm gonna
time.
put that down because I think we need to fine tune the pitch and everyone needs to be saying the same.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And have the same tools
Well said.
to make it just plug and play for every person on our committee.
Yep.
You know?
And within municipal government, everyone should be saying the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I envision is, you guys know Yard House in Market?
Yes.
Like something like that, like
Yes.
this big giant sports bar, like families drinking, everything, like huge space that congregates Wakefield, you know?
So we have someone who lives, I'll use his name, he lives in Wakefield, he is a restaurateur in Boston, he has 2 locations. So I'm gonna reach out to him and say, why aren't you doing this? Cause it's important to know, why are you not doing this in Wakefield, right?
Yeah,
Why are you not doing this down the
Why
street?
not Wakefield?
And he's the sports bar guy,
Right.
yeah.
And the question that comes to mind for me is, do they exist separately? Or are they always in circles? Like, are they always in a Market Street? Do they open up, because in Yard House and Market Street,
Right.
they benefit from everything, from going to everywhere, but if they're on their own, like, are the breweries on their own completely, and are they filled with people the same way as Yard House, for example?
They are. It just all depends on basically the quality of the product. Yeah. People still go for like Cana's in Melrose, but their quality is it's okay, but it's fun to go down there and check it out and have a pint, meet the owner, et cetera, et cetera. The first time in, it's paramount to obviously have good customer service, so they'll have return clientele. I think that in regards to the flattery aspect of it, we're not going to be able to duplicate what's worked so well from Watertown to Linfield to Somerville. We're obviously talking about those marketplaces, but what we can do, like my wife, when she wants to have a lunch in Wakefield, it's hard to find healthy options, right? Like literally it's pizza or a steak and cheese, or you have to like fight and hunt for a good salad. Like a sweet green would be amazing on Main Street.
Yeah.
Right. And just plopping all these businesses, so we make our own marketplace.
I agree with that.
So
The
but
leaf
they're-
and ginger
Yeah.
is a great spot.
And then-
It's really good in there. That's like one spot and another wise just a really bad.
Remedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you been to Remedy? So
Yes.
Remedy is another one.
Right on the train tracks.
Right, they're over on top.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But it's what you're talking about, it's like really healthy and, so again, is there an opportunity, like how well are they doing there, do they want to move to Main Street, is there an opportunity, do they want to expand?
And just get like the talking started, they're like, hey, you know, this is what we're bringing to the table, this is what we started this year.
Right.
You know, if you have any questions or you know want to learn more about it, here's easy contact for Erin, blah, 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 blah. Because obviously, you know, my wanting to do as much as I possibly could, Erin, the whole business card thing, she obviously didn't like all that much, I don't think, you know. She wants to be the focus of it, that's completely fine.
Yep.
But you know, I just feel like she has so much on the plate, you know?
Yeah.
That's all I'm
I would
trying
like
to
to
do is
see,
trying to.
I would like to get her some help, like,
Yeah.
so that's something that, you
You
know,
mentioned
we'll
it
sit
in the
down
last
and,
meeting
yeah, we'll sit down
about
and see
tapping
when
into
she's
some of those
comfortable.
resources,
Yeah.
financial resources, try and give her.
It's like an assistant,
Yeah,
like you're
yeah.
printing stuff out,
I
send her
think it's a
assistant.
great idea. Yeah.
But that's again, so we have to make sure we're acknowledging the hard work that goes in and the foundational pieces and
Right.
that.
So I think that really speaks to the retention brainstorm of looking at these current businesses and seeing how we
Right.
can improve, like
Right.
Remedy.
Cause we don't wanna feed on our young, right? That's the
Right.
thing, you don't wanna.
Yeah.
But to your point, how do we bring in businesses that are maybe at the next tier and not take business away from these folks who maybe aren't in a
Exactly.
position to, right?
Like, you don't wanna, and the last thing we need is another feature shop, you know? There's so much here, I've spoken to other small business owners that have restaurants in Wakefield, and they say there's so many restaurants in Wakefield. So it's not a matter
There's
of
so many restaurants.
bring another Italian place in, we need to bring in something that's unique.
Right.
That's worked other places, that's it,
Right.
you know, and they're looking to expand, what's that?
Maya.
Maya, like, I mean,
Maya.
they're really good,
There.
Yeah.
but they got a violation the other day, and people were mentioning it on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, I don't care about the violation, we love it. Like,
Yeah, what is Maya, what is that?
Oh, it's an Indian restaurant on Tuttle Street.
Yeah, but on Tuttle
Yeah.
It's right next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Next to
actually found
Wakefield,
its
that's
way.
Wakefield.
Yeah, exactly.
We have
That's
Indian.
the
Same
yeah.
same
Yeah.
strip. That actually found its way to the daily
Oh,
So everybody
So,
found out about that.
yeah. So that's also a challenge with working with different departments within municipalities. So if we're trying to do X, Y, and Z, is there an opportunity? Because I think I said this, is they should be reaching out to Aaron and saying, just a heads up.
Right.
Not that they shouldn't be doing their job, but they should be saying, heads up, this is coming down.
Maybe like a Asian bistro, that's kind of popular thing these days, or fusion,
Asian fusion.
you know?
Well, Sakura has a pretty locked down. Sakura's pretty good product.
Yeah, it is.
That's what you're referring to.
Yeah, it's right across the street.
So there's Thai, there's all sorts of.
Yeah.
That's why it's fun to come up with a list. I can do a top 10 businesses I want to see in Wakefield, but just let's pull some suggestions together, see what overlaps, see what repeats.
Right.
And then we can kind of focus on those companies. Right?
So top 10 businesses we'd like to see.
Yeah, we can go as many as you can think of. You know, within reason, obviously.
The kid play place, whatever that is
Yeah.
definitely one.
Yeah.
The beer hall / giant, yard house is one. And then I think Sweet Green is brilliant.
Sorry, say again, keep playing.
Kid play place, Sweet Green, and the giant beer hall of sorts.
Why not cheat shop?
Can I combine those or no?
They're really cheap.
Different?
They're kind of different. But I know a lot of people that would like to have one here.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, when we say beer, because I don't drink beer, I drink tequila. I'm like, why are we talking about tequila?
Tequila bars are popular in Boston, I would imagine.
Very. There's fewer calories in tequila.
That's true, and it's not depressing. Is there anything that we'd like to continue on with business attraction brainstorm, or like to close it out and move on to business retention brainstorm?
So let's, let me run through the notes here. We need more variety. I wrote business open hours, I'm sure I knew about that. So how do we offer, to refresh the image, entertainment space we talked about, what 3 businesses in Wakefield, so now we're gonna do 10?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it doesn't have to be a set number. If you're at 8 and you feel good about it, then we'll pull it all together, through the email.
Let me think, can we do that?
That was just, but that was leaving in my mouth and then I was pulling it back in to ask more of a question if we can't do that. Or we carve out 20 minutes at the next meeting and be like, all right, this is some stuff we worked on.
So I prefer to do the bulk. I know it's slower, but if we do the bulk of everything in the open meetings, we're not running afoul.
Sure.
But if the 4 of us come up with a list, then I'll put that on the agenda that we're gonna run through.
Right.
Fun destinational activities like Apex,
I like that Apex a lot.
I mean, it's a big bite.
Yeah.
It's a massive project, but
there's space for it.
there is space for it.
You know, my grandkids play hockey, I mentioned this during the big meeting, and they're in a playoff, and I believe they were in Marlboro maybe, and that location was awesome. There was a couple of hockey rinks, and there was a big, huge bar right in the middle of it, and they had little shops, and it was just a really cool space. I know hockey rinks are expensive, and that kind of space is an awful lot of square footage.
Could put one in, right? I think they're putting one in with the book.
They're putting a hockey rink in, right? Yeah. This is more like along the lines of an entertainment complex.
Sure.
They had arcade area there, and like I said, the bar was massive, right in the middle, and there was a hockey rink there, hockey rink there, big bar. Food store there, and pizza here, and it's just a really cool thing.
Now everyone goes to Medford.
Huh?
Now everyone goes to Medford, the hockey wise, they have that facility there.
Yeah.
Which is super old. I mean, it's nostalgic, sure, but you know, you can make a better mousetrap than that.
Yeah, it's definitely in Marlboro.
Yeah.
Medford's just opened up that beer. That's huge.
In Marlboro?
No, in Medford.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's basically, I'm not the biggest fan of the art house, but I checked out that place in Medford and that's exactly what you want.
Right. You need a lot of space for that.
Yeah, you do, but
A lot of
I
space.
think that establishment is gonna be very
Right, and not to get off on a tangent or anything like that, but seems like when there's space in Wakefield, all they wanna do is build condominiums. These have these great opportunities for mixed use space, and all they wanna do is build freaking high rise condominiums.
Yeah, it's not great for,
Right.
us.
You go up Nahant Street towards the high school, and every other house has a sign on it
Yeah,
saying how
I live over there.
unhappy they are
Yeah.
about all this.
Well, it's a 40B, that shouldn't be 40B, it's actually not.
Oh, is it?
It is a residential area.
And they're not meeting, more cautious, they're not meeting. So just quickly we need to show that how do we show that Wakefield is unique? Tax incentive programs, owner occupied tax incentive loans, mixed use tap rooms, how do we leverage tap rooms that are already here? Fine tune our pitch, nail the messaging, make sure I'm saying the same thing, look at healthy options, and then come up with the top 10 businesses. Is that everything? Yeah?
It's good. Phew, we're killing it, guys.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Does Wakefield have a slogan? How's that slogans?
The town that means well.
We can start with that.
That's a good question, because that
is a good question.
is a good question. It was interesting, I watched one town meeting, and they said, we don't have a flag, and I'm like, every municipality has a flag, it's hanging in the state house, why doesn't the town council?
Right. I didn't know.
So maybe we have a slogan and no one knows.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Next.
Business retention brainstorm. So,
I'm sorry, can I jump in for
Sure.
1 second? So the UU church is closing.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right
so
next to
that
us,
is
Right
such
across
a,
the street.
such
Next
a
to the bank.
prominent
Yeah.
building,
Yeah.
right? And is it historical? It must be historical.
Must be. Yeah.
So retention is, like, how do we find out before businesses or even any sort of prominent building is at that place, right?
And it's just a matter of time, because it is literally across from the common, right next to my bank, across from here, and it's there. And
So prominent.
it's a sweet spot.
It's a sweet spot.
a good place for a brewery. That's always just going around your head because.
There's a good example of
It
good
actually
versus
is.
evil,
Yeah.
right?
It
It's
actually
a church,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever goes there, I mean, people put restaurants and banks, blah, blah, blah.
I was, I was thinking before it went anywhere, that would be perfect for the marketplace to pop up.
Yes, or that, yes, that would be really cool too, I like the idea we're talking about in a meeting in regards to, like, whether it be 5 businesses or 10 businesses that pop up.
Yeah.
I still think that, and I'm so going off topic right now, but getting the Christmas stroll back here, having like a holiday market, that would be super cool, because all it is you're popping, like it's like seasonal pop-up stuff in there,
It couldn't be more.
you know?
Yeah, Halloween.
Yes.
Halloween's huge now.
I know.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that.
And they do those, they take up commercial spaces just to open Halloween Time USA, and they
Right.
finish.
Like, why don't
Yeah,
we
and
get
they're
that?
gone by November 1st.
Right.
Why don't we get that? Cause there's
As
so
soon as
much.
we can get that, we're gonna get that, that's a good idea.
Alright, so seasonal events, I wanna put that, right?
That is the Wakefield vibe too, like all American, like
Yeah.
wholesome.
I like
Yeah,
the most
yeah,
patriotic, I would say we're the
family.
most patriotic town.
Yeah.
It kind of is, The business retention brainstorm, we obviously have incentives that we can pass along.
What kind of service?
The facade aspect of it.
Okay.
Signage is a big carrot. For me personally, and I take in real estate as well, aesthetics is vital.
Yeah.
It's so important. I'm from Belmont originally. And if you drive down Leonard Street in Belmont, every single storefront, every single sign, everything is pristine when you're rolling through there, you know? And if it's not, Belmont will fix it real fast. I used to have family that worked in town hall there, so we saw firsthand how it kind of went from super old school 50s, 60s style to basically change everything over. It was really, really cool. It's very neat, it's very well maintained, and there is a great variety of stores there. Healthy options, ice cream shops, obviously, they're just kind of examples, but you know.
So one thing that's cool about downtown Wakefield that I really like is there is that old time, like, cravings, we should, like, if they could,
The place is awesome.
But to just like really lean into the 1950s, right? And then that other little tiny, is it cobbler?
Yeah, the shoe store.
I need to actually go by
Love
there, I
the
didn't
way
realize
that
it was there.
Yeah, but it's so cool, like so that you can be nostalgic and hip at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, nostalgic and fresh.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Because we as well are fully aware of things.
It's nostalgic, but I wonder how a place like a Cobbler exists these days. I mean, I get shoes that could probably use a heel or a sole or something like that. I just throw them away and buy another pair. I mean, who goes through the trouble of getting your shoes?
I
You know?
spend a good amount of money on cobbling every year. Well, my wife has a myriad of shoes, but it's not just shoes. It's handbags. It's all the various things that can be repaired. That might be leather. That's really difficult to do. And as long as they're kind of cost effective, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like,
Yeah.
And it's just kind of cute how it's just a company that the type of a business that's been around for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they've been there for a long time as well.
And then that Vito's tailor shop has been around
Oh my God, I love
forever
him.
and ever.
He's the
And
nicest
that guy's
guy.
the coolest guy.
Yeah. So what if we were able to provide an opportunity to highlight these smaller businesses where it's like, aren't you old school? And I'm like, no, this is what I do. So that would actually help too, to kind of help drive business where someone doesn't even think, oh yeah, I have a Louis Vuitton bag that needs, you actually have to bring those back to Louis Vuitton. Like, let's say something, a knockoff where I need to fix that.
Shortcut watch, yeah.
Right, where then it's like, they don't even think about going to the college, but if we actually had an opportunity to highlight what the business actually does, then it gets people to go, oh yeah, I'm gonna grab these things up.
Guys, I wish I had more time, but
You get back to the same, buddy.
Yeah.
I just had one extra little tidbit more to throw in there, and I think that, take a little bit of time, once we get all the business listed, once we have like a nice little spreadsheet of what is actually in Wakefield, because when you bring something out, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was there, basically go around, take the time, I'm happy to do it, and go to 5 or 10 different business owners, see what they like about Wakefield and what can be improved, you know? And that will basically get our faces out there, our committee information out there, where we can get raw data back in. I had data 5 different times in my notes here, because I just feel like we're kind of laughing at this all.
And regarding marketing and all that, I wanted to close with this, we have that Wakefield cable access television, right? I haven't seen that, and I can't tell you how long that, when I lived in Bedford, there was one too. What kind of, is there any advertising, are there any spots on there, or what exactly do they do, or what kind of potential, what kind of opportunities could there be for businesses to advertise on that? I know people probably just tune in for town council meetings, but what else, what kind of, what's their programming like? What exactly do they do?
How much is the spot?
How much is the
How do you use
spot?
the spot?
And, right, and how many people tune in? I mean,
Can we fund the spot? It could actually cost something. Is that something that we can fund for a year, right?
Exactly.
Because if it's like $500 we can do.
How come we can't do a spot advertising all these things we're talking about?
So we did get the invite to Town Day. So multiple town day. Very quickly, the mural. So I have the muralist, she reached back out, we talked, she's gonna come on Thursday and I'm just gonna show her kind of the spaces. I talked to someone who apparently is quite good friends with a couple of the spaces, of the owners of the spaces that I think we're all thinking about. I don't wanna name them until you talk to the owner, right? But this person indicated that the owner would be really interested in doing it, they didn't have to pay for it.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can bring in the arts. There's some
Public art, I think is
to that,
huge.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Peabody or they took all the kids, the talented kids in the schools, and they invited them to decorate storefronts all over the city, all over the town, on the main streets there. And it was really huge, it was great. The kids did a really good job, and they were able to put their names and the school they were in and their age, and it was a cool thing for the town.
Things are cool.
Yeah. You know, guys, I gotta go, I'm sorry.
Everybody has to head out, right? Okay,
So, let's do this again.
Yes.
This is really.
thank you everyone, we're gonna adjourn the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks folks,
Excellent.
this is great.